So right now I am working on the swale, and I have used all the rabbit manure that I have and a little bit of bark and some tree branches. I'm using some moldy straw on the windward side of the swales so that I'm not having small particles of my dirt blow away. I need to protect that so that it's not falling into my swale, and also so it's not just dancing away to somebody else's property. So for the moment, the manure that I have left is the goat bedding that I have out in my goat barn. And I have made another map of the swale, and I drew my beds in the wrong direction. I need to fix that. They should run this way. But it's something for me to think through what I'm doing with. So this is not at all what it looks like right now. What I'm doing is I'm writing down what I've done to this point, and I'm dreaming ahead a little bit. I'm thinking about putting in a row of new trees along the side of the road because I think I would like the effect of that as we drive in. And I also need some more shade there. However, I haven't planted anything there yet, and I'm thinking about my ability to get water to that when I already need to get maybe a drip line set up in the swale. I don't know yet. So this is just a dream version. It's really important to have these notebooks because you just sit and dream with them. And eventually, when you really like what it is that you're seeing, that's when you go out and make small steps. So all of these, I'll show you. All of these have a different dream version of what I'm going to be doing. Some of them are of the backyard. Some of them are a different version of the front yard. Some of them I'm writing in with symbology, what it is I want to plant on the inside of the swale, and whether I want the beds to be sunk, what shape I want the swale to be in. Some of them I've colored. So this one I colored. This one, the swale is not there, but I had put in sunken beds that were swales. So this one didn't have the swale all the way around here, but it was just beds out there. But I decided that I didn't have enough, of a windbreak. So that's when I decided to put in the swale that I just finished. So then here's another version where I make remarks about what still needs to be done. So this was the last version I did. And in this one I made a note that I needed to put in some straw to keep my swale walls from losing dirt. I needed the swale walls to be really tall to protect what I was planting inside from wind, as well as to keep moisture in. So this is where I put those notes down. And then this one was one of the first ones I did when I was just first thinking about doing swales, and then the kids came and colored a little bit. But here's one that I was thinking about doing, and this one I think was going to be like a keyhole garden. And then I thought, well, what if I did them bigger? And what if I did one like a cinnamon roll that spun in on itself? And so that was the original. And then, see if I can get this open. Here I have a list of things that I would use to fill in, because inside my swale I want to have it packed full of plants that will hold grass out, and so, or of things that would be edible. So in this one I have comfrey, borage, roses, mint, nettles, more willows, witch hazel, mulberry, clove, currant, Russian sage, strawberries, raspberries, gooseberries, hollyhocks, and foxglove. So this was just me brainstorming what some options were. And let's see, this one was of the backyard. And so that was me writing down things that I still want to put in the backyard. So what I want to do, here's the back gates. This is south, this is north. I want to put in some more comfrey. What else do I have in here? Everything else that I see right here has already been planted in. But I want to show that there is a line and that this here is where I want to be walking, and this is to kind of divide where I'm planting and where we're walking. So anyway, there's that. The other thing is these are going to be really fun to look back on when we've been here for a while and to see what I did adopt and what I didn't adopt. And the art is kind of fun to look at. So, let's see, do I have anything else? Here's one of the backyard. Plant or shaded in. Just kind of showing what it is I'm doing. And I keep all of those. And sometimes hi honey, and sometimes just the process of drawing things out helps me to clear my thoughts. So it's a kind of journal. So there's the backyard, there's the living fence, there's a peach tree, and again here's my comfrey that I want to kind of show where the path is, and here are some things that I think I would like to put in. I want to put some more cherries in from honeyberry, clove, currant, small evergreen, and fill in this space because this is a really good place to put fruiting plants because I don't have to water them. And again, it's just fun to color it and good way to think through things. So now that I've been through that, this is my most recent version. And so this is a new living fence that's in the swale, and then here's comfrey. I don't have a lot of comfrey roots to plant right now, so I'm just going to plant what I have. And then I think I'm going to put in some weeping willow starts in the corners of the swale. We'll see how that goes. And then what else I'm going to plant in here is in the bottom of the swale, I'm going to plant garlic, asparagus, strawberries, mint, and on the outside of the swale, on the outside of the living fence, so on the extreme outside edge of the swale, I'm going to put in tulips because they come up when it's wet in the spring, and they don't care that it gets really dry later in the year because by then they're dormant. So lots of edibles on the inside of this fence, and the willows that I'm putting in are riverbank willows. They get about 12 feet high. Thanks, honey. They get about 12 feet high, too tall for a deer to get over, but a deer could nibble on the outside of the fence without being able to get over. And these the living fence switches that I'm going to put in the ground are going to be about 3 inches apart so that my chickens can't get in either. And I'm just going to pack this full of living things, and hopefully, I'm really hoping that I will be able to put my ducks in here to keep the slugs down. That I'll have enough things planted that it'll keep them from getting aggressive with other things. And I had a list in here, I'm not sure where it is, of things I wanted to get from Horizon Herbs. Some other things that like moisture, that are good roots, that are edible, like camas. I was going to get some camas. And some butterbur. And more comfrey, valerian, and osha root. All things that would be good to plant in the fall. However, everything here I'm going to do from starts and from free whips that I can just stick in the ground and they'll take root. The reason being, in the past I have spent money on things, and because I am not confident, remember this is the poison pasture, the things that I had on the outside here, outside the swale, with lots and lots and lots of water, they've stayed alive, but they have not grown well. Which means that the reason that I'm doing the swale is to see if I really pamper it by giving lots and lots of water and a protected space, clear of wind, with a little bit of shade, will I be able to get things to be aggressively growing as opposed to just barely staying alive. So this is a new experiment solely because even with enough water out there, my trees that I've planted should be doing better than they are. So the reason I'm doing this experiment is because I really need to see what circumstances things will grow in well out there. If I was doing things the way that I did it previously, at this point I would make a $200 order and fill this in with strawberries and asparagus and comfrey and all these other roots now. But I'm not going to do that because it's failed in the past. I've spent lots of money on starts, assuming that I now had good growing conditions, only to have them die. And how foolish is that? In my backyard, I know they would live because I have figured out my system for my backyard. No, thank you, honey.
I'm making it.
Thank you. Okay, make sure that it stays out of manure and stuff like that, and make sure the plate comes back in. Okay, just be careful with it. So right now I am experimenting solely with things that cost me nothing. All it requires is labor. I have the manure, I have the mulch, I have the rototiller, I have the switches, I have the comfrey, I have the garlic, I have the tulips, none of which cost me anything. It's all stuff that I grew in my back pasture, or not my back pasture, that I grew in my backyard where I had heavy mulch. So that is what I would suggest. Use your journal, use your garden journal. Make a note of what has lived, what has not lived, what changes you've needed to make to the soil to get things to live, and just play with it. It is so therapeutic to be able to make up these journals and these pictures and play with it a little bit. Right now, I can't really do anything in the front pasture because it's really quite warm today. And what I have left as far as manure and mulch goes is out in the sheep pen, or the goat pen. And in order to get to it, I have to get through a fence, and my chickens will get out and get in my mulch again, and I don't want that to happen. And so I'm going to wait until just before the chickens go to bed before I start moving the mulch. And I'll have to put the goats out onto their grazing ropes again because, anyway, in other words, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get that mulch up to the front pasture. And so I'm waiting until I feel really energetic and it's not so hot. And that way I think I'll do a better job. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that when I dug the swale out, I had some chickens that were up in the front, and I had all this loose dirt that I had dug up, and the chickens showed absolutely no interest in it. That dirt up there is so sterile. I only unearthed maybe 6 bugs, and I think those bugs came actually from the grass and got down into the dirt. I don't believe they actually came from the dirt. There were no worms. There was nothing. However, once I got started and I had some new some texture to the landscape, what I did find was that over the space of a couple days, I had a salamander move into the bottom of the swale. Also, I watched several parasitic wasps. They're the ones that lay the eggs on the nasty caterpillars. I found several parasitic wasps making tunnels into my swale. And so after I'd made texture and unearthed a little bit of moisture at the bottom of my swale, I had all sorts of wildlife and insects attracted to my swale. So I find that incredibly encouraging. And also over on this side where I have all my logs right now, I have all sorts of garden snakes over there, which to me is very exciting because the garden snakes will eat slugs. So I am encouraged, and I will go out and show you how far I have gotten. And hopefully I'll be done with that this week. I'm kind of excited. So talk to you later.